today. Did that once before. All right, we're live.
All right.
Good morning, wonderful people. Abby's rocking in her rocker. I was gonna pull mine up for us to be matching.
I'm in a rocker. I have my cozy blanket. I'm eating animal crackers.
Love
I'm
it.
addicted to animal crackers. I love them so much.
That's
Not the fake ones. You know how they make the fake ones in the big tub?
yes.
No, not
Like
those.
yeah, the Target ones that are like
Mm-mm.
fake. Like
Mm-mm.
some things I can do off brand. I
They
can.
taste like literal cardboard.
And then, hey,
Gross.
Christine. And
Well,
then, yeah,
Christine, I have to have the Barnums.
the part of
They have to be the real animal crackers.
the real deal.
Uh-huh.
No messing around. I haven't had
No.
animal crackers. Do you know what that makes me think of? Do you remember when they were like in the little cardboard boxes that like
Yes. I still get those.
do they still make them?
Yes.
Where?
At the store.
I don't see those. I only see like those packaged kind.
I'm going to get you some.
Yes.
Just for nostalgia.
Just for nostalgia. You can get them for me. So, guys, listen. And again, everybody knows Abby and I don't prep. Abby and I we just roll with it. It just
Obviously.
I don't know if anyone could ever be like, wow, those two like methodically have their podcast planned out. As I still have wet hair. I jumped on this blow drying my hair.
Yeah, that is true. She was drying her hair.
I'm like, come on, just one more minute. So for those who haven't seen, I'm so excited because for people who aren't regulars, Abby lives in Texas. I live in North Carolina, and she is flying to me in 2 days.
True.
Abby comes into Charlotte on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And Friday, Charlotte, North Carolina. It is, if you are in driving distance, it is the place to be. If you're working and you're in driving distance, take the day off.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be.
Come on your lunch break because it's like at noon.
Oh yeah. So tell everyone, Abby, like what's happening because I'm so excited. And as a cradle Catholic, and since I knew what abortion was, when I met Abby a couple years ago, I did not hop on her bandwagon. I have always been diehard pro-life, and yet I have never, sadly, I have never done what we're going to do Friday. So I'm so excited. So tell them, what are we doing, Abby?
Yeah. So on Friday, we're doing a couple things on Friday, actually.
Yeah.
So on Friday in Charlotte, there is the 17th annual March for Life in Charlotte. And it's going to be super awesome. And it's happening at like noon, I think. Is when the actual march is, or 11, I'm sorry. Or no, the march is at noon. So 11 a.m. they're going to gather at the overflow parking lot across the street from the Catholic Pastoral Center. That's 1123 South Church Street. And then at noon, we're going to actually begin marching to Uptown Charlotte. So I'm going to be there. It's going to be super great. And what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing two women who left their abortion clinics and helped to close down their abortion clinic in Charlotte. So you're going to get to meet two other former abortion workers who quit and helped to close down their clinic in Charlotte. So it's going to be really fun. And then that night at 6:30, we are actually showing our documentary film called She Was Stronger. And that's going to be at the Catholic High School Fine Arts Center. And we're going to be showing that and also doing a Q&A with me. And that starts at 6:30 and it's totally free. to attend. So we would love for people to come out to that. If you're going to the march, or if you can't go to the march at noon, feel free to come out to the She Was Stronger event. I'll be there as well. So super fun.
That's so exciting.
Uh-huh. And Reg will be there too. So.
And I'll be there too. It's so funny. And Reg. Like, so when Abby and I started going into, when we got into business together for the Real Deal Parenting 2 years ago, I always say I kind of like got this extra push because Abby's like a big deal. And then there was it started to be known as like Abby and Regan and Abby and Regan. And I remember I texted Abby and her husband. I remember the first time someone locally came up to me at Target and they're like, "Are you Regan Long?" And I'm like feeling good. I'm like, yeah. And my kids are there and they see me like excited. And she's like, "Yeah, I mean, I know who you are. I only follow you because of Abby Johnson." And I'm like, there was my 10 seconds. And then whenever we do business with people through the Real Deal of Parenting, it's like, yeah, I want to work with Abby and Regan. And so Abby's the big dog. Like, I'm the tiny fish with the big shark. And so people like, if there's like a business Zoom or something, like to get Abby on, it's got to be big time, right? So I do our brunt work. I do the frontline work. I just love watching people's faces. It's like they're on the Zoom, like looking if you're gonna pop in. Like, wait, I just get Regan. Like, where's that? I'm like, they're just like, no, you're
like I'm
great.
gonna pop up in the background.
They're like, literally, it's like they're looking around me, like, Reg, yeah, you're okay, but where's Abby? I'm like, maybe one day you'll get her. She's the big guns. We only bring her out.
It's going to be so fun, though. I'm so excited. This is going to be like a super fun event. Yeah. I mean, it's like fun, but also, I mean, we remember what we're doing, right? I mean, like this is, but I mean, we're talking about abortion and lives that are lost and everything, but also there have been like huge successes in Charlotte. There have been abortion clinics closed. There's been so many lives that have been saved because of the advocacy that's happened in Charlotte. So, lots to celebrate, the overturning of Roe. I mean, there's lots of things, good things that have happened. And so we're going to be there to celebrate, but also to remember the lives that have been lost. And it's going to be good. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I know Charlotte, Charlotte's like any big city, right? And so I'm also slightly intimidated with like potential backlash that could come, especially like people knowing like Abby Johnson's in town,
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of crazy in Charlotte, so it'll be interesting to see what shows up. But whatever, I love the crazy. I'm like, bring it on. So
I love it.
And it'll be interesting. So the crazier, the better.
I'll just be holding my rosary. Just Lord.
Yeah. Oh, I'll bring my big like metal one. So if I need to swing it around, I can use it.
I've got my gun. I've got my rosary. Got my holy water.
You use your water. I'll use my big metal rosary. I'm like, Regan, get out of here with that water.
Oh my God.
Get your metal rosary.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
Yeah, somebody mentioned Aldi. I went into Aldi yesterday. Christine mentioned Aldi and their animal cart. I went into Aldi yesterday. Regan, I don't know if you ever shop at Aldi.
I don't.
Okay. Well, I went into Aldi yesterday and I was like amazed. I really never go into Aldi either. First of all, you get to bag your own groceries, which that is my favorite thing on the planet. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I get to be like a checker at a grocery. I get to.
It's fun, right?
I've always wanted to be a checker. Okay. So I get to check out my own groceries and bag them. So that in itself, like, yay, amazing. Yeah. Second of all, their prices are so cheap. Okay. So my kids are obsessed with little, cherry tomatoes.
Right.
So when I go to the grocery store and I get those little packages of cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, they're literally like $4 for a a little container. I went to Aldi yesterday. They were $1.45
Oh my gosh.
a
And we're
container.
not and we're not talking like smashed old.
No, their produce is phenomenal. They had the prettiest strawberries yesterday. I brought 2 containers, and it's so cheap. It
Wow.
is so cheap.
That's awesome.
I was like, "Wow." Like, I'm coming over here all the time, especially for produce. Their produce was beautiful.
Wow.
So, I don't and please don't tell me if they are for abortion, please don't tell me. I don't wanna know.
Like,
I'm like, "I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know. Don't tell me."
I mean,
Like, for real.
we're getting limited on where we can shop. Like again, I still go to Target. They're horrific. They're liberal. It's like Amazon. I'm like, I know. I'm so sorry. I
I
just
am believing that Aldi is the most conservative, pro-life grocery place to shop ever. I'm believing it, and nobody can tell me anything different.
don't tell us.
So,
Just
don't pee on my parade. I'm believing it. So, um, yeah, their stuff is just like it's super, super cheap.
I
So,
swear every time I go to the grocery store. Now I go quite often because I even do like after mass I'll do like small loads in the morning just to grab a few things. Like every week I swear the price, especially of produce, just like gets like higher. Like I got this tiny thing of blackberries. I don't know. There was like 14 blackberries in there. It was like $6.
yeah,
And so I'm like,
you gotta go to Aldi. You gotta go to I'm
I'm like,
telling you,
do I
so
need
cheap.
these blackberries?
I You probably don't, but you do if you go to Aldi. I
Oh my
couldn't believe it. Like the cucumbers there, like one cucumber was like 40 cents. 40 cents? Everybody's having cucumbers for dinner.
Oh,
That's your dinner.
I like cucumbers. I like to
It's so
salt and pepper them. That's perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna have
I don't even like cucumbers, and I'm gonna start eating them just because they're so cheap at Aldi. I can't. I just
Mom got a deal on the cucumbers, okay?
We're all eating cucumbers. Everything was so cheap there, and they have their own brand of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of their brands is called, like, Millville. It's, like, the dumbest it's called, like, Millville. I was like, "Somebody
Mhm.
get me a T-shirt that says Millville. Get me, like, a hat, Millville hat." I will wear the brand, whatever. It is so everything is so cheap. Look, their cereal is, like, a dollar
Wow.
50 for a box of cereal.
So, like, I wonder what the catch is though. Like, do they like that's so crazy. I'm
And their
literally
stuff is, like, healthier than the brand name stuff too.
right.
But
Hey,
it looks the same, like, their box of, like, Cheerio equivalent, the
right?
Millville Cheerio, it's like the Cheerios are, like, almost $5 a box, but theirs is, like, $1.50.
I'm gonna have to like take clips from
Yeah,
this app.
Bethany, they don't use, like, food dyes in their brands too, which I don't give Carter, like, red dye because it, like, makes
Oh,
him like, "Oh," so I don't give
yes.
him red dye, which is all that stuff is bad for you, and,
But red dye is in like it's like in ketchup, isn't it? It's like in
yeah, not in
isn't it
all these ketchup, I looked.
really?
Yeah.
I think that's part of like Caden and Kelsey's deal too. I swear to God, if I could put those two children on a super natural, organic, healthy thing, I think they'd be different kids. I mean, all kids, but my two who like I just see them. If they have soda, if they have some type of processed sugar, like it's 3 minutes and their like eyes are different. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
They just, I don't know. It's
yeah,
just
Carter's the same,
it's
and Lucy, really. Yeah, both of them.
it's crazy.
Okay, people are asking questions about
The
Plan
abort
B,
plan B.
and I so we should talk about this. So, this is like big news. Okay, so, and I don't think we've talked about this.
No, we haven't.
since we've had a show. So,
Mhm.
big news happened last week with the Biden administration and the crazy partisan FDA, which does, whatever the Biden administration wants them to do. So let me just kind of explain what has happened. Several years ago, the abortion industry created this way for medication abortion, which is the RU46 pill, to be distributed through telemedicine. Okay. And basically, what that meant was that a doctor did not have to be in front of a patient giving them the RU46 pill, which is Mifeprex, did not have to be face to face with them in order for them to receive the Mifeprex pill. So basically, a lot of states swooped in and said, no, absolutely not. We don't want this to be accessible to patients without them being face to face with a doctor. So the abortion industry found some loopholes, things like that. States tightened up their regulations. And that was kind of that. In some states, they were still allowing telemed. In some states, they weren't. Like where I live in Texas, telemed abortion was not allowed. And that was kind of the way it was for several years. Now there were some regulations that were loosened on the gestational age that you could have a medication abortion. So when medication abortion first came out decades ago, you couldn't have a medication abortion past 7 weeks. Then it was 9 weeks. Then it was 10 weeks. Now it's 12 weeks. So now let me make this clear. RU46, what we call medication abortion or chemical abortion, is different than emergency contraception. So emergency contraception goes under different brands: Plan B, Ella, One Step, Julie. There's different brands of emergency contraception, and we can talk about what that does, but that is different than medication abortion, chemical abortion, which is RU46. Okay. So now, last week, okay, wait, let me stop. So when Roe was overturned, now there are about a dozen states where abortion is completely illegal. So that means surgical and medical chemical abortion is also illegal in those states. Okay. So there were groups that came together, and abortion groups that came together, and they tried to figure out, okay, how do we make medication abortion available to women who want to have an abortion, right? Obviously, these brick and mortar abortion facilities cannot stay open, right, and perform surgical abortions, but how can we get medication abortion to women? So what they did was they set up websites, and right now there are over 70 websites available to women in the United States where in states where abortion is illegal, where a woman can go online. You could do it right now. You could go online. You can type in your information. You can type in your date of birth. You can type in your last menstrual period. And literally, you can type in any date for your date of birth. They do not check an ID. They don't ever ask for an ID. So you could be 13 years old, but type in a date of birth that makes you 18 and they'll give you the pill.
Unbelievable.
You can type in any last menstrual cycle date, and as long as it falls under 12 weeks or 10 weeks, depending on the site, you could be 16 weeks. But as long as you type in the right date, they'll give you the pill because they don't require that you have an ultrasound. You don't have to be under any sort of physician's care. Okay. So as long as you are clicking the right buttons, as long as you are typing in the right date, they will push you along in the process. You pay about $110 through their payment portal, and they will mail you the pills. Now, the pharmacy is in another country. So this is how they're getting away with this. So the pharmacy is generally in India, Belgium, or China. Okay. That pharmacy will send this American woman pills from their out of country pharmacy. The pills take up to 4 weeks to get to this woman in America. So even if she was 12 weeks at the time that she put in this information, now she could be 16 weeks by the time she takes the pills.
Oh my gosh.
Now, let me tell you what happens to a woman who takes medication abortion at 16 weeks. It is extremely, extremely unlikely that her body will pass a baby from her womb through medication abortion at 16 weeks at the dose that they give her. So, what is most likely to occur is that the baby will die, but it will stay in her womb because the medication is not a high enough dose to allow her body to contract enough, allow her uterus to contract enough to push the baby out of her womb. So, what will happen is this dead baby will stay in her womb for weeks, but she won't know. She won't know that the abortion isn't complete because what's happening is online, and you can look this up online. The abortion industry is telling these women that having a medication abortion is just like taking Tylenol. They are telling them that they will have mild to moderate bleeding. So they take these pills and they probably will have some bleeding. And so they're like, oh, that was the abortion. That's it. They don't realize that inside of their womb is a large, fully developed baby. And so they have a little bleeding and they think, oh, that was it. They're right. It was just like taking a Tylenol. It was like nothing. They don't realize that they're carrying around a dead baby in their womb. And what will happen is that after a couple of weeks, they will become septic and they can die. Or what will happen is that part of their baby will come out of them after taking these pills, but the pills aren't strong enough to remove all of the baby. So maybe they'll have, an arm or a leg come out, but not the entire baby. But the body will then treat that baby like a foreign object, and it will try really, really hard to remove this foreign object from the body. And what will happen is this woman at her home will begin to hemorrhage, and she'll hemorrhage to death at her home. She'll faint, she'll pass out from the amount of bleeding, and she'll die on her bathroom floor or somewhere in her home. The FDA and the Biden administration have now greenlit this process into pharmacies. So now women don't have to wait to get these pills from Belgium or India or China. Now they can go into any local pharmacy with a prescription that they get online from one of these websites. So they can get a same day prescription for 20, 30 bucks. And they can walk into their local pharmacy and they can present this prescription. And in the same day, they can get these medication abortion pills without being under a doctor's care, without ever having seen any medical personnel, without having had an ultrasound. These women don't know if they even have a pregnancy in their uterus. They could have an ectopic pregnancy. Taking these pills could actually rupture their fallopian tube and cause them to die. They don't know how far along they are in their pregnancy. They have no idea what's going on with their body. This could be a 13-year-old girl that's a victim of sex trafficking. This could be a 15-year-old girl that's trying to hide the fact that her soccer coach has been raping her for the past 2 years. We have no idea. The Biden administration, the FDA, have now made it so that these women's homes are now abortion facilities. And the terrible thing about it is that these women who have successful medication abortions, they are going to pass their babies into a toilet at home. And they're going to see their fully formed babies sitting in a toilet. And they're going to have to make the decision. What do I do with this baby? Do I flush this baby down the toilet? Do I scoop this baby out of the toilet? What do I do with it? And then these women are going to have to over and over and over again go back to that bathroom every day, day in and day out, and relive that trauma over and over again. And we have no idea what psychological impact that is going to have to these women. I believe we are going to have increased suicides, increased suicide attempts, increased depression, increased anxiety. I believe that women are going to greatly suffer. We already have stories from pregnancy centers of these women going through these medication abortion procedures, scooping their babies out of the toilet, putting them in Ziploc bags, and going back to pregnancy centers and saying, what do I do with my baby? This procedure is horrific. And the Biden administration, the FDA, have gravely failed women. And I believe we are about to see some pretty serious repercussions because of it.
And yet the agenda in the media and this culture push on the other side is simply, well, they took these rights from me. They're trying to strip me of my empowerment. So I'll just do it this way. And it's absolutely horrifying because once that's there's just no going back from that. There's no undoing. And I know I've said this a few times on our podcast before. I think the majority of us knew when this administration took office, when they took office, how bad it would be. But I give them so much credit for just it, like warp speed, being so much more disastrous than I anticipated. And I set the bar really low, low expectations, knowing it was going to go downhill, knowing it was going to be so bad. And they have taken it to an entirely new level. And again, like who's calling these shots? We certainly know it's not Biden because he has no idea what's happening. We certainly know it's not Harris because my third grader has more common sense than she does. And so it's like, who is the puppet? Like, who is engineering all of this? It's absolutely horrifying. It's horrifying, Abby, for adult women. But this is even more heartbreaking for young girls who have no guidance. They have nowhere to turn to. They're scared. And yes, situations happen and unplanned pregnancies happen all the time. And so too often it's traumatic instances in how that baby was created. And God, and I have been there with the unplanned pregnancies, but one trauma does not make it okay for an additional trauma to happen.
Well, the
And
bottom line is that is such a rare reason for women
right. Oh, yeah.
that choose abortion. I
Right.
mean, the majority of women choosing abortion, it's because
It's inconvenient.
it's inconvenient and they were irresponsible
Right. Right.
with their sexual choices.
Right.
And and I just think that we're just not talking about that enough. We're not talking about uh I mean, I you know, I've told my daughter, um I mean, yeah, we talk about, oh, men, yes, men have a responsibility too, but look, I tell my daughter all the time, and I send her this really funny graphic of my face and then this quote on it. I always tell this to her. Men are the gas, women are the brakes. Women have the responsibility. Women have the control in a relationship. Women have the control in a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
Women have to use that control. And so we can talk about guys, we can talk about all that. But at the bottom line, at the end of the day, the person who decides whether a couple is going to have sex or not is the woman.
That's so true. That
Not
is
the
so
man.
true. Yes.
And we have got to start having that discussion with our daughters. We have to start having that discussion with, our everybody. Like, we've got to start having that discussion with young women.
And here's the thing too, Abby, in that I think we even need to back up a step in the discussion with our daughters is and I'm not getting fully into it right now. I've blogged about it once. I think sometimes as young women we give ourselves too much credit that I'm going to put myself in this position because I know I'm not going to go to the full length. And I know I'll be able to say no. I'll be able to stop. And I remember being this very young, good Catholic girl, and she wanted to save herself for marriage. And, and I had my plan and I had my morals. And I allowed myself to get into a position that I was too young to then get out of. And it was too late. And so as much as and again, I'm not pointing fingers or placing blame, but that's where we have to start. Knowing if you're going to put yourself somewhere that you probably shouldn't be, and then in the back of your head you're just saying, "Oh, but I'm going to be okay, and I'm not going to let things get heated." We have to start there. We have to start there because all too many times it's so hard. It's so hard despite the best of intentions. It's so hard. And there's fear and there's how do I back out? What's going to happen to me? And I'm at a place where I have no family close to come get me. And so it starts there.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, these conversations, although they are difficult, if you don't have them with your children, someone else's or TikTok's is, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're going to get this information and these ideas and these so-called answers from somewhere else, from someone else. And so it's oh my gosh, it's so much.
And I can understand. I mean, I was, a woman who supported abortion for a long time, and I can understand women who are fearful of, you know, being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not going to have this way out of an unplanned pregnancy or something like that." Like I can understand that. But like men who support abortion, every time I see a guy who supports abortion, like this guy James Neutron, which I'm sure that's not his last name. Let's hope not.
Oh, James.
Every time I see somebody like that who comments, I'm just like, "Oh, thank you for pointing out. Thank you for letting everybody know that you are an irresponsible man." Like, thanks for highlighting to everybody. Thanks for outing yourself as an irresponsible guy. Because the only men who support abortion are men who do not want to take care of the children that they create. So they want women to have a way out. They want women to be able to kill the children that they themselves create. Only irresponsible men love abortion. Only irresponsible men want women to be able to kill children. So I'm like, please out yourself. Please let us know who we should not be procreating with, who we should not be breeding with, because we do not want any more of your genes in the gene pool. Please let us know.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too. And I would never, and I remember my aunt who helped raise me always had told me, and it was never encouraging premarital sex, but it's so true, is never be intimate with somebody that you could not picture having children with. You know what I mean? If you're, I mean, am I right?
Oh,
I
you
mean,
do not have 6 children, please. No man
yeah.
who has 6 children is for abortion,
And I am
please.
married to their mother, but James is all for that's what gets me. People, yeah, guys like James, and then even more so of the women, which James, we talked about this on our last podcast of the evil in women
Mhm.
who have done us wrong in elections, more so the women than the men, who their perception is so skewed. They are so selfish. They are in such denial that they feel like they need the right to kill their own baby. Many of these women being mothers, which is even more unfathomable and disgusting. And um, and these mothers who are worried for their daughters that they wouldn't have the opportunity and the right to kill their baby. It like any decent human being, religious or not, like say that out loud to yourself. And I just can't wrap my head around that. I can't. And
I
if
know.
you are going to have sex with somebody and you cannot, and knowing, I don't care how much protection you use, there is a risk that a baby is going to be conceived. And if you cannot see yourself doing the forever thing with them and having a baby with them, then there's absolutely no reason that you should be having sex with them.
No,
Period.
absolutely not. No, definitely not. So, I hope that that helped everybody, like, understand what's going on right now. Now, I do want to back up and sort of explain the what emergency contraception is. So, there's emergency contraception is available over the counter. So you can just walk into anywhere and get emergency contraception. Now, Some people will say that, and I will say that emergency contraception is an abortifacient. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Okay. So when people say, that it has an abortifacient property. So basically, what that means is it has a mechanism to potentially kill a conceived human being. So let me just kind of explain how that works. Okay. So basically, emergency contraception works the exact same way that birth control works. So there's a lot of pro-lifers who are like, well, I don't like, I don't like emergency contraception, but I'm fine with birth control. Well, if you don't like emergency contraception, then you should actually not like birth control either, because they work the exact same way. Okay. So the way that emergency contraception works and the way that hormonal birth control works is like this. It either works to stop ovulation, or if it doesn't stop ovulation, which we know there is a percentage of time where it does not stop ovulation, then it has a backup mechanism. And the backup mechanism is that it creates a hostile uterine environment. And the hostile uterine environment means that it creates an environment so that if a newly conceived human being, so if egg and sperm meet, then that newly conceived human being would not be able to implant on the uterine wall. Okay. Which would mean that that newly conceived human being would then just be flushed out of the uterus. To me, if you're not allowing that newly human being to implant on the uterine wall, and you have done something, you have created that yourself, you've created that environment yourself, you've done something, you've intentionally created an environment so that this new baby is not able to implant, then that is an abortion. So that's why people say that it has an abortifacient property. And that is what Plan B does. That's what emergency contraception does. It just has a very, very high dose of birth control. So emergency contraception is like 4 times the dose of everyday birth control that you take. But they have the exact same property.
Right.
So you can't say, well, I'm against emergency contraception, but I'm not against hormonal birth control. They work the exact same way. So if you're against one, then you should be against the other.
Right.
Emergency contraception is not going to harm a baby that's already implanted on the uterine wall. That's what an abortion pill will do. That's what RU46 does. That's not what emergency contraception does. I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. And if I could turn back time, and again, especially speaking from a Catholic standpoint, and moreover, like broadly a Christian standpoint, um, I guess I can now somewhat empathize with people just being blinded and like sheep listening to their doctors. Like I remember blindly being led at like age 14 when I was taken to the doctor and, oh, Reg, we're going to put you on the birth control pill. It's going to help clear up your skin. It's going to help with your cramps. It's going to make your periods better. And then when you're serious with a boyfriend, it just in case. And I remember having a moment sitting there. I never asked to be on it. I didn't want to be on it. I really didn't. The only thing I knew was Okay, it's going to help clear up my skin. Well, I want that. It's going to help make my periods, like my cramps, better. Well, okay. And now you're telling me if and I just was so taken back thinking, is this okay?
Yeah.
Little did I know that it was against our faith, first off. And all of those chemicals pumped through my body all those years. And I just was the mercy of the doctor and the mercy of but this is what's best for you right now. This is safe. This is what's best. And now I'm just like, what?
Yeah, but Regan, you and I were talking about this on the phone the other day, and I posted about this on Facebook. Okay, when that player from your favorite team, the Bills,
DeMar, yeah.
when he, just fell out, right, from an apparent heart attack. I'm not sure if they figured out if that's what it was or not. This healthy, what,
Young.
25?
Yeah.
25-year-old man just on the field falls out suddenly right after a play. Not even a play. I mean, like it's like I've been hit harder from my 8-year-old. Okay. Just boom, right on the field.
Yeah.
Appears to be a cardiac arrest at 25 years old, 24, 25 years old. Okay, that's not normal, right? We have all these people dying suddenly, all of these young people having cardiac events recently, right? Since
Yeah.
when? Since you know what? Since the VAX. And people are like, huh, that's weird, right? That's weird that a 25. No, it's not weird. It's
It,
incredibly abnormal. It is bizarre. It is not okay. It's not okay. Right?
right.
Okay. The same thing can be said for many women that I know personally. A girl that used to do my eyelashes, that used to put on my eyelash extensions,
Yeah.
she got diagnosed with an extremely aggressive form of breast cancer at 26. That's not normal. That's not
No.
normal. But she had been on birth control since she was 15. I know another girl died of breast cancer when she was 30. She was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer at 27. That's not normal.
Mm,
That's not okay.
right.
So many women getting strokes, osteoporosis, heart disease in their 20s and 30s. That's not normal. And what's the common denominator? Birth control. We have all of these infertility issues, higher rates of miscarriage than we've ever seen before.
And
What's been the common denominator for the past 10 to 20 years? Hormonal birth control.
yeah.
And people now we've just become so immune to it. We've become so numb to it,
Desensitized to it.
desensitized to it, that we're just like, oh yeah, another 30-year-old with breast cancer. We should never think that way. We should never think that way. And now the same thing is happening with the vax. We see a 20-year-old falling out from a cardiac event, and we go, oh yeah, another one. We are becoming desensitized to this.
I
There should be
shared
lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And it should be the same thing with hormonal birth control.
Yeah, I shared in my stories yesterday 3 different episodes, spells, whatever you want to call them, of that has happened after Damar Hamlin of the
Yeah.
Bills. All young people. a young boy on the basketball court falling over, having a cardiac event. This young, sweet girl, this newscaster, she's talking, and you just slowly see her starting to, she's speaking, and then you see her becoming disoriented, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well. And so the other anchor at the station, she's outside, is like, oh, it's okay. And they couldn't get the camera off of her quick enough. And it is this horrifying thing that happened to her body. And she collapsed and she was vaxxed. It's people dying suddenly. How it's happening now has never happened before. And if people want to be naive and stupid and turn their heads and say it's from something else, I at this point, due to all of the facts, everything that's out, I have lost my patience. I have lost my empathy. It is like, wake up, look at what is right in front of you, because it's, and then people are still running off to get more this year, just to be safe. It's absolutely maddening. And it's like, if you're a full-grown adult that has made this decision to do what's best for you and to do what's best for mankind, then whatever, you go do that. But the fact that you're endangering our innocent children and you're making your own child do that, that is where I could just flip some tables over, because it is so unlawful and so unethical that as a mama, I'm like, I can't even go there.
I mean, I'm fearful. I have friends that got that, and I'm like, I'm fearful for them. Like, I'm fearful that they're going to be another statistic,
Yeah.
And did you see that video? It was like, I should have sent it to I have it in my messages or whatever. It was like that video of, it was like some guy, I don't know what movie it was from, whatever. It was like walking into 2023.
I've shared it. I love it. Where he's just like,
he's like
taking off his sunglasses, like wiping his head.
Yes.
Oh, I shared I find like different reels every day with him. And I am like
walking in 2023 unvaxxed or whatever.
Unvaxxed,
And he's like, it's like this music, and
he's just
healthy and unvaxxed.
Unvaxxed. And here's the thing too, because we have to
and we were gonna die, right? We were going to die.
We were killing grandma.
We were gonna die. We were gonna kill everybody.
The winter of death.
We were killing everybody's grandma. Like, whatever.
We had all this. We had
all the grandmas I know still alive and kicking, and I'm fine.
And
I'm healthier than I've ever been.
And
great.
Here's the thing. People have asked me too, because now we're starting, whether I'm at church, whether I'm out in public, all the doctor's offices, everyone, like some people are starting to throw their masks back on. It's like, please come on.
Nope.
But literally my last 3 doctor appointments, whether for me or one of the kids, there's like the signs, put your mask on. I get up to the window. They're like, okay, oh, here's your mask. And I pull, I take it and I smile and I say, thank you so much. I don't need one though, but I still take it and I smile and I walk away. And by God, I never put a mask on my children. And I'm telling you, everyone in the office is masked. All of the patients are masked. And I don't know if I just put this aura out where it's like, don't, you're not going to get far with me, but they don't say anything. And it's like, you have to stop being sheep. I don't care if the lady at the desk told you, okay, and you can be polite about it. I smile. Oh, thank you so much, but I'm okay. Thank you. I'll take it. I'll just hold it for you. I'm not going to put it on. I used to sometimes be submissive to the point that I put it on down around my chin. And then I'm like, what am I even doing? What am I doing? Take them off. Do not be compliant for something that is absolutely ridiculous, because you are contributing to the problem. You can be polite and you can take a stance at the very same time. Don't put them on. Don't play the game. Don't be manipulated. Don't live in fear. We have to be exposed to germs.
Well, this is why the RSV and everything is so bad with kids right now.
Yeah. We suppress
the mask.
We suppress the immune systems, especially of our children. Pediatricians are admitting this now. It started so early. My children all had the flu terribly. And yeah, we did this. I hope everybody's happy.
My kids did not get the flu, but I think it's because they like eat gum from underneath the table.
I know.
But my kids are absolutely disgusting.
Building those immune systems up.
Lucy was like looking under the table. I'm not even kidding. She looked under the table at, where were we? Somewhere. And she goes, Mom, there's gum under here. And I was like, I know. And then she's like, look, she's like trying to pick it. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I want to eat it. I was like, no.
Oh my God.
Stop touching it. But if that had been Carter, he would have already had it in his mouth. Like, he wouldn't have even told me. He would have already been munching on it. So that's just,
you know how that skeezes me out.
Abby
always teases me too with like public restrooms. I'm just like, let me just go pee in the parking lot. I'll open 2 car doors. Let me pee.
Carter, my kids must visit every public restroom that we go by at least twice. But I'm telling you, it's why they're never sick. I think they lick the toilet. I don't know. It's why they're never sick. Yes. I'm telling you, it's why they're not ever sick. And I have caught Carter eating gum from under a table at least 5 times, at least, because I don't give my kids gum. Like, I don't ever give my kids gum, and my kids are always chewing gum. So I'm like, where did you get that gum? I know it was pre-chewed by a stranger. I know it. So, Reagan, I know.
It's okay. Everything's going to be okay.
You would never survive at my house. You've never been here because you won't fly here. And that's probably a godsend for you because you would never survive here.
But the fact that you can survive in my home, because when Abby comes into my chaos, she's always like, and I only have 5 kids and Abby has 8. And sometimes it's really disorderly. And I'm like, but it's like this at your house, Abby, right? And she's like, no, some of this. No,
I don't act like that.
No, there was a time where I'm like, Abby, this is like your house, right?
I was like, I mean, no, but it's fine. That's how I was. I wasn't like, no.
No, I know. And like I showed Abby like our disastrous garage. And like, your garage looks like this, right? And she's like, not really. Doug has ours all organized.
Well, it has to be organized because I have like 5,000 containers of my Patriot Supply food. So like,
oh my God, I know. Our friends
one side of our garage is like buckets of food from my Patriot Supply.
We've got to share that too, because I have my buckets of my Patriot Supply emergency food kits. Then I have all of these waters. And our friends had come over the other day and they're like, dude, like, are you preparing for like the apocalypse? I'm like, yeah, I am. And we're all prepared. We're set.
Oh my God. Brittany said it would be funny to watch us do one of those wife swap shows. Our husbands would not know what to do with either one of us. Terry would be like, send her back.
Terry would be like, kind of like just sitting, rocking, like, I'm so afraid. Doug and I are close though. So like, but Doug's so like smitten with Abby, he'd be like, Reg, dude, you're cool. This is great. I don't know.
Maybe Terry and I would just sit around like eating donkeys all day or something.
Oh my God.
I love with food. So Terry and I would just like sit around like stuffing our faces all day, I think.
Just watching some TV, eating some snacks.
We'd like binge watch shows and eat. That's all we would do, I think, all day.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I have to go work now.
I have to take my son. I have an appointment, but I first have to take my son in middle school, his gym shoes again, because he's forgotten them. I swear to God. I'm surprised he wears shoes to school.
Yeah.
What would these kids do without us?
My kids don't wear shoes half the time. They wear them to school, but we go out somewhere and Luke, my 9-year-old, we went out to dinner the other night and we get out of the car. He's not wearing shoes.
Kelsey's done that before. Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
Luke, like
what
he's completely barefoot. He doesn't have socks on.
right.
I'm like, Luke, you knew we were going to dinner, right? He's like, yeah, I just forgot shoes. I'm like, what?
What
Oh
were you
my
thinking when
gosh.
you got into the vehicle? Right?
I mean, my kids are never wearing. I've decided I'm just going to get like 2 emergency pairs of shoes, like just to keep them in the back of my car.
Oh, I have random shoes all over. Oh yeah. That's
I
why.
keep my car super clean, so like I don't keep any extra stuff in it, but I've just decided like I I have to do that because I have to keep like 1 pair for the older boys and then like 1 pair for the twins because they just never have shoes. They go to church without shoes. They apparently go to dinner without shoes. I'm just like, I don't know what's wrong with my children. They're just wild. They're feral. I have like feral
As do I,
children.
sister. As
Ugh.
do I.
Anyway, Reagan and I are making a road trip together in March. I'm
To
like, I am
Chicago.
flying. Listen to what I'm doing. This is how much I love Reagan. I am flying to Charlotte. Then I am renting a car and we are making an 11-hour road trip to Chicago because she will not get on a plane for literally like an hour and a half flight to Chicago.
No, I
That's how
won't do it.
ridiculous she is. So she's
I am.
making me fly to Charlotte and get in a car with her for 11 hours.
And it's going to be so much fun. And we're going to vlog it. And we're going to take you all on our wild ride. And we're going to get snacks. And we're going to sing. It's going to be fun.
Then I have to drive back and then fly back to Charlotte. I have to do all the flying.
But like, this is going to be a road trip to remember.
It's gonna be.
You're
fun.
going to thank me.
It'll be fun-ish.
Fun-ish.
No, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
But yeah. So, anyways, Friday. Stay tuned. Abby and I will share things from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes. So be there. Yes. Be there noon at the March for Life if you can in Charlotte. And then you can Google March for Life Charlotte and get the website and everything, find out more details. And then also 6:30 p.m. She Was Stronger, the Catholic High School Fine Arts Center. It's free to get in. Just show up. Oh, also Reagan and I have like, there are people meeting about us today for something really, really important. So please be praying for that meeting. It's happening today. So be praying about that.
Amen. I'm so glad you said that. Abby and I have some big things in the works, and we've just trusted God's timeline and his yeses and his nos. But yes, the prayers would be great.
Yes. So okay, I really have to go. I'm 7 minutes late.
All right.